Good morning. So I get asked a lot about what I do for a living. I do a lot, but one of the main things that I do is I do content creation and I work with a bunch of brands. Another question I get is, Scotty, like what agency do you use? Like I want to get into content creation. I want to start working with brands like you do. Like what's my first step? Like who should I go with? And I can honestly tell you that I haven't had an agency for myself ever. I haven't had a manager. I haven't had anything at all. I built everything that I have today by myself. Is that the right way to do it? Well, there's multiple different avenues you can go down. You can get an agency and they can find you work. You know, you can go out and you can freelance like what I did when I first started. You just build your name up over time and you get more credibility. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to build your own personal brand and start working with bigger companies. I myself have worked with over 47 companies over the past 4 years, and there's probably a brand in there that you know very well. So let me help you guys out and let's get to it. How does this look? Do we do it here? Maybe we'll be this guy at the gym. That guy, and just pretend it's not there. So we'll just have a conversation like this. So when it comes to your personal brand, there's one key that you have to start with, and that is being authentically you. Too many beginners in this space, they try to put on a show and they try to be something that they're not. And the problem with that is it's easy to see through. And you're never gonna build a true brand and a true following if you're trying to be somebody else, because at one point or another, you can't be that person anymore. You have to build trust with your community, and that's what you really wanna go for, is building that community first. You have to get used to showing your face on social media. Even if you're a little bit embarrassed or you're a little bit timid, it's okay. That's where everybody starts. But in order to build a community, people have to trust you, people have to see you, people have to connect with you. And the only way to do that is a face-to-face interaction. Set up your camera and just start practicing. Have your phone out, talk to yourself in the mirror. Whatever you have to do to get comfortable, just get comfortable. At the end of the day, I'm talking to you as a friend, so that should make you feel comfortable when you're having a conversation. And when I say building a personal brand, a lot of you are gonna go straight to social media and think, well, I don't have 100,000 followers, you know, I don't have 1 million subscribers, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's okay if you don't have anything right now. When I first started, I had absolutely nothing. I started with like 10 followers, but the beauty of that is even with 10 followers, that's 10 people that you can influence. And unless you can treat those 10 people like absolute royalty and talk face to face with them, you're never gonna be able to do that with 100,000 people, with 1 million people. You have to start small and really give as much value as you possibly can to those 10. Next, you have to find a niche. And once you find that niche and really break into it, you have to get consistent. In full transparency, this is one thing that I can do a whole hell of a lot better right now. I used to be so good at being consistent, and as time went on and I got more busy, I started putting my content to the side, which is not what I want to do. And I guarantee you, if I was still that consistent, I'd be 15 times more successful than I am right now. So finding that niche that you truly love, that you can truly add a ton of value in, is priceless. So another thing I always hear is, well, what am I supposed to film? I don't have an interesting life. What am I supposed to show? All of us have unique things and all of us have interesting stuff going on all throughout our day that we don't think is interesting, but from the outside in, it actually is kind of cool. One of the things you can always double down on is the fact that there are so many problems out there that you're probably fixing or that you've related to in the past. Find those problems and take people along the journey of how you got from A to B. Help solve that problem for somebody else, because I guarantee you that somebody else is facing those same problems you are. Next, you have to have a focus. What are you trying to do with your personal brand? Are you trying to monetize it? Are you trying to bring more value to your customer? Are you trying to promote a product? What are you trying to do with it? Identifying that and getting so focused on what the end goal is, that's gonna take you light years further than anybody who doesn't have a plan. Look at your content as if it's a full-time job. You have to be putting in that effort if you're gonna reap any reward. And remember, nobody builds an empire overnight. You're gonna have to be in this for the long haul if you really want any success in it. It's called practice. So the more reps you put in, the better you're gonna get. You have to get uncomfortable. Grab that vision, grab that focus, and just start creating. Now let's talk about consistency. Like I said before, consistency is king when it comes to social media and your personal brand. With so many creators in the marketplace right now, it is a little harder to get noticed. It is a little harder to get that initial step. But the beauty of consistency is you're gonna beat out 95% of your competition strictly in the fact that you're gonna keep going when all of them give up. Because let's just face it, most people don't have it in them to stay in for the long haul. And on a personal note, it took me about 3 years of just developing content and getting good at talking and getting good at brand building before anybody even wanted to work for me. And I would say it's even a blessing, because I know people who have taken 10 years, 12 years for even one brand to reach out to them. But in that time, I built a following. I built a community that actually trusted my opinion, trusted what I had to say. And through that trust that I built, I was actually able to bring brands in front of my following, and they trusted my opinion on them. Now let's move on to your value. You can't go into this with the mindset of, how am I gonna make the most money with this? Or which brand is gonna pay me the most? Because at the end of the day, you don't wanna be that person who's just being a sellout. Because you really shouldn't have the intention of selling anything to your following. Because if you've built up that following and that community enough, they're gonna wanna use whatever you're using. They're going to wanna buy whatever you're buying. They're gonna wanna stay wherever you're staying. So if you've built up that trust, that's what counts. Next is understanding that you're gonna fail. And honestly, failing is probably the best thing that's gonna happen to you. Because in those failures, you're gonna be able to learn and you're gonna be able to adapt. So when you fail, don't get discouraged. Understand that this is part of the process. Just pick up where you left off, learn from your lessons, and move on. Next is one that I was doing for so long and I didn't realize it, but it took me so far. You have to find somebody that's crushing it in your niche that you can
can take their strategy and make it your own. Because let's just face it, success leaves clues, and luckily there's people out there who have gotten to where you want to get to. All you have to do is follow their path. And going back to me, for instance, when I first started all of this, Alex Costa was somebody that I absolutely admired. I loved what he was doing in men's development, in hair, in fashion, in grooming. It was all so cool to me. So what I started to do is I started to take all the lessons I was learning from him and adapting them into my own strategy. I took what he was doing and I made it my own, in my own version. Because you have to remember, you don't copy anybody. You take what they're doing, you make it your own. And what's even cooler is over time, I've actually gotten to know Alex and we've become friends. We've actually done business together, which is something that I never thought was gonna happen. But that never would have happened if I wouldn't have taken that first step to develop, start my personal brand, and grow over time. So find a mentor, even if it's not one-on-one, just find somebody who's doing what you're doing and try to copy what they're doing in your own way. And this last one has been absolutely key for me. You have to learn how to live your brand. Because if you're gonna talk the talk, you better learn how to walk the walk. The way that I think about it with any brand that I partner with is I am the owner of that brand. I am going to live it as if I own it. Because if I can show you that I care about it that much, I know that you're gonna come over to my side and understand that this is a quality product. And if you don't know already, Cuts has been my main partner for years now. I absolutely love everything that they stand for. The quality of the product, the ownership, the entire team. I love every piece of this brand. If I'm going to represent them, I have to represent it as if I own it. So a quick side piece, if you're looking for some brand new clothing to make yourself stand out amongst the crowd, head over to Cuts and check them out. If you have any questions about how it fits, I do have a styling guide. Go check that out. But if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you. At the end of the day, your personal brand should be you trying to make a mark on the world and leave a legacy behind. Because at the end of the day, how do you want the world to see you? Once you can figure that out and start living in that, you're gonna have one killer personal brand.